Happy Tuesday, 10 at 10. I am your host, Richard Charpentier, and every Tuesday we meet to answer the questions that are sent to the Bakerpedia site. And today we are going to answer questions that were sent to us. So without further ado, let's start. We have the first question. It's if amylase activity is high, then will the following number be high or low? So a falling number, for those who are not aware or familiar with, first of all, you can find a lot of information on the Bakerpedia website that Dr. Lin put on the site for educational information. So it's basically, it measures the sprout damage into wheat kernels. So as wheat goes from the field, it has in its kernel basically some enzymes, alpha amylase. So and that device is basically a plunger where you put a certain amount of dough that is being as a slurry, and there's a plunger, and the plunger basically measures the force, and as you're heating it up, it measures in seconds. So the longer technically 2 to 250 seconds is a good quality wheat. But if it goes too fast and the plunger goes through very rapidly, that means it's too much enzyme. So to answer your question, the higher the enzyme level, the alpha amylase in the grain, the shorter the number. So hopefully it answered your question. So, the following number is a very crucial analytical tool to ensure the consistency of wheat when you have wheat, and that's why millers are hard at work every time to ensure that the flour and the wheat you're getting is going to be the same, so bakers can be baking the same consistent product. So and then always have a lot of respect for all the millers out there, because it's hard work, and so do the bakers. But moving on to the next question, which is better for the softness of white bread? A long baking time and low temperature, or short baking time and high temperature? So your question, I will try to answer. For bread softness, baking a short, long time, or a high temperature, short time, etc. My rule of thumb for baking, if you have a large piece, so therefore you're going to reduce your temperature and bake longer. And if you have a small piece, you're going to do hotter and shorter. The key to ensure a soft product once you bake, it's simple. It's always, you have to make sure that your starch is set. But if you at around 200 degree Celsius, Fahrenheit, 260 degree Fahrenheit, which everything should be set at that point, unless you have enzymes that will continue, but that's not for the subject. It's all about controlling your bake. Make sure that your bake is don't go further than 200 degrees. That's what you need to measure. It's not about how long, short time. It's always better as long as your product, it's baked, the internal temperature is 200 Fahrenheit, and then it doesn't collapse, you're good. And don't go over that, because what you're doing, the longer you bake, you're removing the moisture in your product, and the moisture is your friend. Moisture is what creates softness. If it's a longer shelf life, then you have to reformulate, think about enzymes and other ingredients and hydrocolloids to keep your product soft and fresh, quote unquote, longer. But for now, if you're baking, make sure you don't exceed 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Just keep the moisture within your product, and package it properly and do all the other things that you need to do properly. But do not overbake products, because you're removing the moisture, and moisture is the baker's friend. So it's always important to do that. But great question. So now for our next and last question, we have someone asking, we make crackers by baking nut flour, hazelnut, walnut, almond, or pecan, arrowroot, oat tapioca, extra virgin olive oil, purified water, Himalayan pink sea salt and spices. It sounds actually very good. And they need to stay for a week. Is that possible? So yes, it's possible. And I don't see why not. The key to cracker, it's all about maintaining a proper moisture target. I'll take an example of the little goldfish from Pepperidge that my children like. It's like easy to pop in and always have that crunch. The reason why they always have that crunch is because they do measure the amount of moisture in each product to ensure they have a system and their process is always accurate. Because if your moisture varies, and I've worked on product in the past where they were moisture sensitive, that's your critical control point. That means that's the thing you need to target all the time. And a cracker, once you dry the product properly, and maybe we're talking about baking it properly, you have to find a proper bake so it's not burnt, but it's basically you remove the moisture. As the earlier question, we're talking about keeping the moisture. Remember, it's about how do you control the moisture within your product, and that's technically that. And if you do that, crackers can easily, based on the amount of fat and how stable they are in terms of prone to rancidity, this product can last 3 to 6 months in the proper packaging. Not just again, we're not talking about the packaging, but you should in no time get a week worth. So unless they're not baked properly, the moisture is not correct, then you're going to say, hey, how do I check my moisture? They have moisture analyzer, moisture meters. You put your product, it's basically almost like a small oven, and it moves the moisture out, and you're left with the residue, which is, and it calculates the amount of moisture. Overall, if you don't have that, I would recommend, at least if you have a great product because it's quality ingredients, have an outside lab measure that for you. At least you know where you are. And if you have further questions about where should I be for a cracker, etc., feel free to go on the Bakerpedia page, bakery resources. There's consultant available to you just for 30 minutes or an hour, and we can communicate and talk to you about your projects and guide you to your speed to market innovation. So on that note, so thank you very much, all of you, for listening and for watching Tuesday 10 at 10. And you have a great day and happy baking. Take care, guys.